Thank you for joining, team. We're early. I like it. In the comments, I'm going to drop a document for us, or in the chat. Let me see if I can do that. Let me try that again. Almost there. Let me just get back on the big screen, guys. Sorry, a little bit of an issue with my computer. Look at all these faces. Hi, how's everyone doing? I see Mars coming in from Singapore. Rebecca, good to see your face. Katie from India. Akshay, good to see you, my man. It's been too long. I see Madhu is here. Jane is here. Borki from the Philippines. I think I saw Annika as well.
Hello, Yuria.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very good.
Good.
Thank you. Good to see you guys. Madhu, can you check for me if Carter? Oh, there's Carter, but Carter is on Madhu's link. All right.
Yeah.
So, team, I just want to give it one more
I couldn't
minute.
find my link.
No worries. I struggled as well. I resent it, and then I see the new system is they actually send you a reminder via email with a link in there as well. So that helps.
I did not get the reminder, but
okay. But we got you.
That's all right. Yeah, you got me.
Madhu, can you do me a favor? Can you drop the PDF in the comments, please? My mail application just shut down on me, so I need you, brother. Team, I would like to introduce Carter to you. For those in Malaysia and the rest of South Asia, many of us actually don't need any introduction to Carter because he has been part of the CrossFit scene for more than 10 years. Just stand by, truck going past. That's good. They recently had their 10-year anniversary, so he's been part of the scene for a very long time. Earlier this year, he obtained his CrossFit Level 3 as well, so we're super proud of him. And then he was our guest speaker earlier this year at the affiliate gathering in Johor Bahru, which was hosted by Teddy. We are very happy to have Carter here today. And what he presented to us at the affiliate gathering was so good that I felt we need to share it here with you guys as well, with a wider audience. Carter, did I miss anything?
No, that's pretty much it. You've done my introduction. I'll skip that part.
Oh, you can do it again. I'm sure you can do it better than I do. All right, I'm going to go on mute and it's yours.
Awesome. All right. How's everyone doing? Good. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Carter, so thanks, Yuria, for the introduction. I am the owner and head coach at CrossFit Kuching. So we've been proudly serving our community in Sarawak for, I'd say, more than 10 years now, as a CrossFit affiliate, and very proudly as one as well. Before I begin, are there any boxes out there, or any of you guys that are actually currently working with seniors or masters, or have any sort of programs like that? Yeah.
For us at Enduro, for sure.
Yeah. So there's a few of us. So I think maybe some of the stuff that I'm sharing here might be quite obvious to you, but I will share it anyway based on the experiences that I had. And also, I've also did the coaching the aging athletes online course that CrossFit provides, and that's also a very helpful tool. And some of the stuff that I'm sharing with you today will be from there. So continuing on, so we've been serving our community for the last 10 years, and I think one of the main things that was very clear to us, that the people who often needs CrossFit the most are the ones that are neglected or overlooked. And I'm talking about the aging population. So when we're talking about older athletes, the conversation often turns to limitations on what they can do, slower recovery, weak bodies, reduced capacities, etc., etc. But we all know that's not the true story or the full story of it. Aging doesn't have to mean decline. I think with the right approach, the right programs, older athletes can become, and it's proven to so as well, become stronger, fitter, and more resilient than they've ever been. Aging is it's something that is bound to happen. So our jobs as trainers isn't just scaling workouts, but we're there to sort of support. We're all there to dismantle myths, challenge limits, and prove that progress doesn't stop with age. Because as we all know, age is just a number, but the real difference maker here is coaching. Together, I think we can redefine what it means to grow older, not by slowing down, but by continuing to push the limits. So do we have the slides, or shall I share my screen, Yuri?
I think it's easier if you share your screen, Carter, please.
Okay,
go ahead.
Sure, let me just figure that part out. As you can see, I don't use this very often.
That's okay.
Where is the
I'm
share
way better
screen?
at teaching squats as well. At the bottom, there's a green arrow pointing up in the middle of
there we go.
the banner.
The most obvious part. All right, cool. Oops. Not this screen. Wrong screen.
Yes.
Okay, can we see that? All right, cool. So with aging, it brings both physical and mental changes, but how much it affects us actually depends largely on lifestyle and mindset, and not the age itself. We face simple choices. Do we age passively, lose capacity, and rely on others, go to nursing homes, etc.? Or do we age actively, maintain vitality, independence, and purpose? As Coach Glassman put it, the fear isn't living long, it's living long without the ability to live life or to enjoy life. And I think with research, it shows that functional decline is often driven by inactivity rather by the age itself. So the fitter older adults, not only do they live longer, but they live better. Within the CrossFit community, we can see that by staying active, preserve functions, and while inactivity will accelerate decline. Our roles as trainers isn't to expand life expectancy, but we're actually here to extend functionality. We help people to thrive and not just survive. Okay. So training masters athletes is a little bit more complicated than it seems. As we all know, not all two human beings are the same, and this is true with masters athletes as well. Age alone tells us very, very little about a person. I think two people can be 50 years old, live completely different bodies and completely different capacities and histories. So instead of just grouping everyone over 40, so apparently that's a new benchmark as well. It's no longer 35 and above, it's 40 and above to be considered masters or aging athlete. So instead of grouping everyone over 40, we need to use a smarter framework, and that is the masters quadrant. It's basically key 4 variables that we need to look at: goals, age, fitness level, and injury state. And together, these will give us a real picture of who we are coaching. The system just doesn't help just us experienced coaches, but it will actually be very good for our younger trainers to get a clear and structured way to make better coaching decisions. So I'll bring you to this is the Masters quadrant. Okay. Each athlete will fall somewhere in a quadrant. Understanding their position changes everything and how we program and how we communicate. So the 4 variables that we're looking at is goal orientation. Now, is the athlete motivated by performance or general wellness, whether they're competitive, they're always checking the leaderboard, they're always trying to unlock a new skill, or they're there just to sweat, just to sort of move better and enjoy sort of quality of life. Age, now we have 2 categories of masters. We've got the early masters, which is under 55, so 40 to 55. Athletes in this sort of age group typically are still working, and they're balancing with their careers with family. And more often than not, they still reject the idea of being aged or old, which is something that I'm still coming to terms with. And I'm sure some of us are. We still think that we still can hang with the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds in a workout, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I think the other one is late masters, which is 55 plus. And more often than not, this age group of the population, they're retired, they have more time, and also they've come to accept the terms that they are getting older and they are facing all these physical changes. The next variable we're looking at is fitness level. So obviously someone that's coming to you, whether they're fit or whether they are sort of haven't been working out for a long time. So deconditioned, that's what we call them. So fit usually would be individuals that perhaps have an active lifestyle, whether that is previously used to be a top level athlete for a sport, or someone that has done other sort of physical activities coming into CrossFit. So these people typically will adapt a lot quicker, but they're also a lot more sort of gung-ho in a sense that they want to try to progress a lot faster. So this is where we have to be sort of careful in how we progress them, and the progression needs to be gradual. Then obviously we have the deconditioned athletes, which is often the ones that will be a lot more sort of challenging to scale for and to bring them along safely, and they also get demotivated a lot easier than the others. Injury state is a big one. We have to be aware of this with masters athletes, as with all athletes, but more prominent with masters athletes, that when they do get injured, the recovery or how they get back to full condition is a lot slower, and in some cases they may not fully recover. So injury state is also something that we need to be aware of, and that's not only physical. We're not talking about just mobility. We're talking about, it could be chronic disease, etc., etc. Those are the things that we need to be aware of when we take these clients on. So next is we're looking at how do we assess the athletes. So with the obviously the variables, we are able to put them into different archetypes. Each athlete will sit somewhere across these archetypes. We are looking at someone that falls into where they are, not based on their birth year, but all the variables that we have come up with. So I believe there are 16 different archetypes that we have. If you have a look at them, we've got obviously with age, the age part, we've got early and we've got late, and then we've got the goals, which is performance or wellness, and then we've got fitness level, which is fit or deconditioned, and then we've got injury state, which is uninjured or injured. So we can classify the athletes into these different quadrants, and then from there, we're able to obviously come up with the programming, scaling that is appropriate for these individuals. So, for example, two 50-year-olds might look identical on paper, but one's been training for years and the other started just moving. So their programs will look very different in a sense. Not in the workout that they do. Obviously, we in CrossFit, everyone does the same thing, but how we bring them along, how we scale for them will change. We want to coach to their quadrant and not to their calendar birth date. In this way, we can create a safer, smarter, and more effective training. Okay. So the only thing that is a guarantee in life is that we all age and we all leave this place. So that's, for me, it's the only guarantees in life. Aging is inevitable. It will happen to each and every one of us. But how it affects us is optional. Our jobs is to help athletes delay the effects of aging for as long as possible. And the main thing that will drive the rate of decline is lifestyle. Because lifestyle can affect your decline a lot faster than age would ever do. An example would be a 30-year-old that's sedentary, that doesn't have the best lifestyle, that's partying, drinking, eating whatever they want, not exercising. They could be in the worst condition of their life, whereas someone in their 60s is following the methodology, watching their nutrition, getting good rest, recovery, and they could be the fittest that they've been in their lives. So lifestyle is a big factor. We see this in the community on a daily basis. Consistent training transforms aging athletes, so they need to be consistent as well. If you put a 65-year-old CrossFitter next to a 65-year-old normal person that doesn't do any exercise, you're looking at two totally different people, right? Even as different species we're looking at. So training builds buffer. The stronger your capacity in early life, the more protection you have in later life. Now, this is something that is probably very familiar to all of us. We learned this in CrossFit Level 1, the fitness, wellness, fitness continuum, which is the same concept where the more you train, the older you are, the longer the buffer you have when you do have go through phases in life that you're unable to train as much. Our fitness won't drop too much. Yeah. So as trainers, we're not just programming for workouts. We're also, a very important part of our job is reshaping the beliefs. We're challenging the I'm not too old, I'm too old for that mentality. I think and pushing back on the cultural norms that tells seniors to actually slow down or don't do that, don't lift too heavy or hurt yourself. But I think thankfully the mindset is changing here, especially here in Asia. Whereas in the past, this was that kind of mindset. But I think in recent times, I've been getting a lot of feedback, and that mindset is slowly changing. And doctors are recommending seniors to start strength training, and a lot of them come directly to us, which is a blessing, which is awesome for us. So we're here to help these masters obviously extend their lives. So that's very important. So with aging comes changes, these obvious changes that happens. So physiological, we're talking about physical changes such as aging skin, so wrinkles, which our skin also becomes weaker, so more susceptible to cracking and splitting. So those are the things we need to be aware of and take consideration. Hormone changes, obviously decline in hormone for men and women. We're talking about testosterone, estrogen, all that hormonal changes. Recovery, that is slower. Obviously, masters will need to have a good recovery protocol for them to help them recover better, and a lot more conservative in their training. Decrease bodily functions. We're talking about sort of effects on the neuroplasticity, coordination, focus will all decline. Immunity decline, so more susceptible to get sick, inflammation, etc., etc. The other thing that obviously comes with aging is the changes in their mind and their mood. Sensory perceptual changes are a real change that is something that we need to take into consideration. When I talk about that, we're talking about declining in eyesight, hearing, smell, taste, things like that, which is a huge factor when it comes to coaching aging athletes, because we write on the whiteboard, normal general population might be able to see it, but older people may struggle to see what's on the whiteboard. And more often than not, they struggle to hear. So when we're coaching, we need to make sure that we're loud and clear. And sometimes, most of the time, I have to repeat myself over and over again, but you just got to do it in a nice way. It is part of the gig, I guess. So we need to be aware of that, well aware of those changes. Also, with masters athlete, they have a high risk of falling. So the older they get, obviously they lose balance, they lose strength and coordination a lot easier. So falling is something that is a real risk that we need to be well aware of. And also with decrease in bone density. So if they fall, they're likely to break something. Okay. But obviously with CrossFit, with strength training, we build that back up, and hopefully we reduce the risk of that. Also with aging, you also with the cognitive side of things. So a lot of masters may struggle to learn new skills. So for example, with skipping, or double unders or single unders, normal population may take 1 or 2 sessions to get that movement, but with masters they may need repetitions over a few sessions for them to get it. But that doesn't mean that they can't get it. We just need to be more patient, and they will eventually get it. And trust me when I say it's probably one of the most rewarding things when they do get something, and you see the smiles on their face. The positives of changes with age comes with life experiences. So they're a lot more, obviously being through a lot more in life. So comes with a lot of wisdom and patience. And I guess in essence, perspective of life is also different for the aging population. They're a lot more about purpose. So they're training for longevity, independence, and quality of life, and not necessarily the six pack or the aesthetic sides of things. And with masters athletes, especially the late masters, they also are retired. So that means they have a lot more time a lot more money, and they're a lot more committed. So they'll show up early, they'll stay consistent, and once they buy in, they're in it for the long haul. So with my masters, I think our life class, we have the lowest rate of cancellation as opposed to your general classes where you tend to get a good number of people that's always canceling on you. All right, next is the inherent risk of training aging athletes. These are more prominent than your general population, so we need to be well aware of this. It's nothing to take lightly. It's a very serious risk that we all need to be aware of. Risks such as cardiac risk, so we're talking about heart issues of sudden cardiac arrest or things like that. So if your box or gym doesn't already have an AED, I would strongly suggest, if you're looking at training senior athletes, to invest in an AED system. And also make sure that these athletes, when they're coming in, that we do proper sort of filter them, in a sense that we're asking the right questions, getting them to fill out the forms, and then make sure that they have medical clearance if they do have any sort of high-risk ailments. So medication risk is also something that on surface we may not see, but if they're on high blood or on cholesterol medications, these can affect how they train as well. Some medication can cause dizziness, etc., etc. So we need to be aware of this as well. Higher injury risks, obviously, with training athletes, aging athletes. So higher injury, slower recovery. So we need to be a lot more cautious. I would say err on the side of caution rather than trying to push them to do something that maybe the risk and reward is not there. So we've got to think about this as a long game. And I think a lot of seniors are a lot more conservative than you think as well. So a lot of them would rather do something that's less risky than a higher risk. We can always progress along from there. Obviously, with the risk also comes, some are more inherent for female, some are more for male. So those we need to take into consideration, especially with the female side when we talk about menopause, perimenopause. Those are real issues that can affect obviously energy and all that kind of stuff. So conversations needs to be there. I think we had a very good call on that a few months back. Yuria, I think I remember joining that one, so that was good. Let's talk about the myths, the myths behind training aging athletes. So one of the more common myths, I think all of these are quite common, is that older athletes cannot get strong, they cannot improve on their fitness. As we all know, training older people, or training anyone for that matter, this is a huge myth. Strength does improve, and I've seen it firsthand. Even as short as 3 weeks to 3 to 4 weeks, I've seen huge changes in someone in their 70s coming twice a week. So it is something that is definitely a myth that is busted. All right. They should avoid intensity. Again, we all know the number one way of getting results in CrossFit is through intensity, and we're not talking just about that breathing uncomfortably kind of intensity, but we are also talking about lifting weights, lifting heavy relative to each individual. So we can't overlook all these sorts of stimuluses that we provide for the general population. It should be exactly for the aging population as well. Which brings me to the next myth, that older athletes need simpler segmented programs, right? When we talk about that, we're talking about just doing purely something like strength on one day, and then maybe another day will be walking for 30 minutes or whatever. Obviously, we are more biased to what we do here in CrossFit, but if you talk about the most majority of our population, is most people just want to be fit and healthy. And I think to get the best bang for your buck, or the best program out there to give you the most complete overall picture of fitness, I think CrossFit is the best. Again, I'm biased. And lastly, the myth, very common, is older athletes can't recover well. I think I've been through that point a few times, so I don't need to explain too much. As long as their recovery protocol is great, anyone can recover. Okay. Next, CFK Life. That is our class that's specific for newcomers, actually, and seniors. So we actually created CFK Life initially to sort of target the masters or aging population, but we felt that it's probably best that we did it as a hybrid model. So we included people that are new to fitness, that possibly never really exercised and are afraid or scared of, obviously, CrossFit or any sort of exercise. This class is a very different feel, very different vibe to it. We're still doing the same stuff as everyone is doing. We're actually following the CAP programming. So if those of you that are doing the CAP programming, yeah, you would know that we're all doing exactly the same thing. It's just a different category. Obviously, with the masters, they'll be looking at doing possibly intermediate and beginner versions. I think this mix works beautifully. With different experiences, different sort of, you have a mix of young and old, and all of them are sort of a little bit new, so they blend in well and they don't have that fear. Again, that works for us, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. So all roads lead to Rome. So some gyms have chose to incorporate seniors into their normal classes. If you do not have a lot of masters population in your area or in your community, that might be a good idea to incorporate them into your normal classes. Or some have gone, just specifically create classes for the masters population. So if you have a big community of masters that wanting that specific class just for them, that works well as well. Or you could go with the hybrid model like we did. We started out our life class, I would say, late last year. We started out with one class, which is every Saturday morning, and it started out a bit cold. Obviously, we were trying to build it. We started out with 3 or 4 people once a week, and then, but we persisted. We believed in the program. We believed in what we're doing, and now we are up to 10 classes per week, Monday to Saturday, and the class is pretty much 80 to 90% full most of the time. And I've had complaints that some people say they can't get into my class, it's always fully booked and stuff. So that's a great problem for me to have. And that is something that I believe that we all can get there. If you're persistent and you build it right, you are inclusive, you're structured, you're fun, and then they will come and they will tell their friends that they are your biggest marketers. They will tell all their friends, and they'll bring their friends. So let's move on to some real life cases. So just to prove to you, I'm not just reading from a book, okay, that we do have real case studies here to share with you. And these pictures here on the screen are the actual athletes. The first gentleman here is affectionately known as Mr. Bong. He told me to call him Mr. Bong from day one. So I don't know what his other name is, but I know he's Mr. Bong. So he joined us through his daughter. So his daughter basically, I wouldn't say forced him to come, but you could say forced him to come. He's 70. He came in, he's got knee pain, he's got arthritis, he's got gout, but he's also determined, which was good. So we prepared. So we found out all these limitations that he had. So we will make sure that we prepare for him every time we know Mr. Bong's coming in. We will know we need to ready boxes, parallettes, not for him to do any sort of L-sits or anything, but it was more for the aid of him getting up and down from the ground, because that's what he struggled with. So being prepared, obviously, safety first, is very key in our sort of preparation for him. So now, how has he come along since then. I think within 3 months, he went from going once a week to now 3 times a week. He's lost weight. He's regained mobility. He started doing box jumps onto bumper plates. He started out not wanting to do even a simple jump onto a 5 kg plate. So now I think I have to stop him from jumping too high. So not only is his fitness improving, but the mindset as well. And he's talking to me about wanting to get a 6-pack. So there you go. So this is not just fitness. I think this is freedom that we've created for Mr. Bong. So here's our archetype late wellness. Okay. So we've got the next one, case study is Joseph. Joseph is an early masters, mid-40s, ex-athlete, used to play basketball, came in with knee issues. He was curious about our gym because his office was actually upstairs of CrossFit Kuching. He used to see naked people running around. So he was curious to see what the hell's going on. He came in, his first WOD, he pretty much knocked him out. He disappeared for a couple of weeks, but then he came back with the determination to master CrossFit. So obviously his goal orientation was performance. Now he's not only my competitor on the leaderboard because he's roughly around my same age and he's always comparing his results to mine, but he's also my partner in CrossFit Kuching. So he bought into CrossFit Kuching a couple of years ago. So yeah, he's definitely reignited his sporting ambitions through CrossFit. And our third and final case study is Jane. Jane is her daughter is actually a big part of our community. She's been with us almost from day one, Jody, and she was the one she didn't really force her mum to come to CrossFit, but her mum was more curious about why was she so obsessed with CrossFit. So the mum was actually very active to begin with. She did daily movements such as walking, Tai Chi, yoga, etc. She's 65, vibrant and fearless. And I guess sometimes a little bit too fearless. We have to hold them back. I still remember her trying to do a wall walk when she didn't have the prerequisite strength, shoulder strength to be able to do a wall walk, but she insisted she wanted to try, but we had to stop her. So she's also one that started out once a week. And then she went once a week to twice a week. Now I think she quit doing one of her regular exercises so she can do CrossFit an extra day. So she's up to 3 times a week now. She's quite competitive. She's probably one of those, who knows, maybe one day she'll be at the CrossFit Games for the Masters, 65 and above. So these are our 3 real life case studies. We've got a lot more. I think with our masters athletes, we've got at least 20 to 30 active regular masters now. That's when we're talking about masters, we're talking about 55 and above. We're talking about late masters. So we have a big group of community that is growing, and a lot of them are through referrals and friends. So this is an awesome picture. I love this picture. This was from one of our regular life classes. So in closing, I guess we can't stop aging, but we can certainly control how we experience it. Our jobs as trainers, coaches, isn't to slow people down. It's helping them keep rising and keep growing. Aging is inevitable. Decline is optional. The difference maker is us, the trainers, and how we bring these people along. So with that, thank you so much for listening to my story, and I hope that you guys got something out of it. And yeah, any questions?
Carter, that was fantastic. And for you guys to grow this to 10 classes, starting with 3 to 4 people, that is just tremendous. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions, team? Is Mr. Bong Yvonne Bong's father or grandfather?
No, no, no. No
Just
relations
checking.
there.
Just checking. I had her for a level 1 this weekend in Kuala Lumpur. So just checking.
Yes, she told me all about it. Very proud of her.
Yeah, all of us. Carter, maybe you can tell me what kind of mistakes did you make in the beginning? I like to share mistakes just to make it a bit more transparent for everyone as well. And we like to learn from other people's mistakes. Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, sure, for sure. I think mistakes that we typically make would be to treat masters athletes as a general population athlete. I think we sometimes lose that mindset that they need a lot more extra care um, than we all sort of feel. And those were probably one of the sort of coaching mistakes that we all learn from. I think you also got to learn from trial and error for the timing with masters athlete. I think typically people think that old people wake up early. They're probably up at 4 o'clock and they want to train really early, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Old people like to take their time, and trust me when I say that, they do things a lot slower. So from the time that they wake up to the time when they're ready to train could be a good 4 or 5 hours. So the best time we find for weekdays for us is 9:30 a.m. That seems to be the sweet spot for us. Also, old people don't want to be in traffic. They're like, I'm retired. I don't need to be stuck in the traffic coming to an early class, or going back from an early class. So timing and all that is also important that we've learned. And yeah, just learning in general, like how to scale for them. Because masters, I've picked up new scaling techniques that I never have done in my last, my first 10 years of coaching, and then the last year I've figured out new ways to scale things for certain athletes. So yeah, it's always a learning progress, work in progress.
Can you give me one example of a movement that you scaled that is completely different from what you've done previously? If you don't mind. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I like to share these practical things,
Okay. I have a couple of good ones, but just nothing has popped into my head. But I think especially with a movement like ab mat sit-ups, I think sometimes we take for granted with the scaling for ab mat sit-ups is sort of we expected everyone to be able to do a sit-up. Okay. And the typical scaling would be to use a counterweight to help us get up, and or change the movement to be anchored on your feet, things like that. So we have to get creative, and sometimes even a simple movement like a crunch, we would need to use, or you can even use a band to help them sort of get up. And some of them have trouble sort of getting up and down from the floor. So we might need to have a box next to them or a bench next to them to help themselves get up and down. So things like that, I think that are not very common with normal people. I wouldn't say normal people, younger population. You find that you need to be more creative as you are training aging athletes.
That's very valuable. I have one final question. I'm sorry to have all these questions, but I have one final question. You were talking about Mr. Bong and Madam Jane Neo, and how when they get to that stage where they want more and they want to try wall walks, you said you stopped them. How did you have that conversation? How did you do it diplomatically, or was it like a put your foot down stern and say, no, not today? If you don't mind sharing.
You obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, they're our clients and we're servicing them. And we, as much as we want to be stern, but we also need to be, we need to treat them like adults as well. We can't sort of treat them like kids, although sometimes you have to. It's like herding cats, with old people. But you just got to reason with them, because a lot of times they will understand your reasoning for it. For example, with Jane, she wants to try to walk it in. I said, okay, fine, but can you keep a tight core? So she tends to sag a bit because the core might not be so strong. So I said, can you keep a tight core for me first? And then if you can't do that, then let's try and get there first. So you sort of reason with them and then make sure that they understand why you're stopping them from doing it, not just telling them no, outright no. Because that could come off as you think I'm not capable, or it's more of a negative connotation than explaining it to them why. Yeah, I think.
I hear what you're
Does that
saying,
answer
and
it?
sometimes it does. But it's such a great topic as well, because in South Asian culture, someone older than you, there's a level of respect, and there's certain things that you say and you don't say, but there's also a responsibility. So it's trying to strike a balance at the end of the day.
Yes. I think that's yeah. Sorry, that's just to answer to sort of answer you on that. I think that's very true. Like the seniority in Asia, you respect your elders and all that. But at the same token, I find it quite interesting that when the elders, they do come into the class, they almost feel like they're young again. So they actually respect you as the coach, as the trainer, and they do listen to you, and like I said, they almost feel like they're younger. So it's actually quite cool that way.
I love it. I have so much respect for what you guys are doing, and I hope that everyone who has signed up today to listen to Carter speak, that you found something that you can hold on to. And maybe it's not a program that you start at your gym today, but maybe a year from now, we're living in a population where there's a great aging population, and if we can be ready with a program once people start knocking on our doors, that would be fantastic. And hopefully you also have time to print this t-shirt. Madhu says, my new coach's tee is going to say professional cat herder. I like it, my man. Sounds good.
Please send me one, man.
Any questions, team, before we take a photo and I tell you about the next webinar that we are planning, the final webinar for this year? Final questions for Carter.
Hello. Sorry, just have a quick question. So, you mentioned that the way you rolled out CFK Life Class is a hybrid model. So there are newbies, and then there is the aging athletes that are part of it. Would you say that your life class is like your foundations to get into the general CrossFit classes? Do you treat it that way? Or do you have a
Yes.
different foundations course that people can take up so they can jump into CrossFit?
Good question. We actually do not have a foundation program. So initially we had another program which was called the Ignite class. That is still ongoing, but once we came in with this life class, that is more or less the foundational class for us. So we would recommend people to sort of, if they're new, to stick to sort of life class for a good period of time before they feel confident to move on. But more often than not, we have to sort of push them along if they're in life class for too long. But with that, yeah, it is our sort of introductory class that we have.
Right. Sorry, last question. So in life class, since you said that it's sort of your introductory into the regular CrossFit classes, does this mean that you still introduce the higher technical skill like snatches or wall walks, stuff like that, into life class?
Most certainly do. We follow the CAP programming to almost to a T.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for answering my question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Coming to us all the way from the Philippines. Carter, can we quickly talk about that snatch? So you're scaling a snatch for one of your elderly athletes. Are we talking barbell? Are we talking PVC? Are we talking power snatches only? Can you give me some guidance there where you guys go?
Always PVC. We also have recently invested in a whole bunch of training bars, which is around 7 kilos. We also have some kids bars, which is around 2.5 kilos. So we will teach the snatch, obviously with the PVC, and in some cases they will perform the workout with the PVC as well. So And in terms of squat snatches, again, it depends on each individual athletes. Unlikely in the life scenario that you might have one in 100 sort of masters athlete that's able to have the flexibility to be able to do that. But obviously, we always tell our athletes, we always tell the masters that what we're doing today is a progression to ultimately for you guys to be able to do the actual movement. So we never shy away to say that. So you're 60 years old, you shouldn't be doing a muscle up. We will encourage them to say, hey, today we're doing this, but ultimately I want you guys to one day perhaps even get a muscle up. And a lot of them actually do actually feel happy when they hear that, and they feel confident in the sense that they're working towards something. I think a lot of people might be afraid to teach masters high skill movements because, oh no, they're going to get injured, or they'll hate it and they won't come back. But I think if we approach it in the right way and we sell it to them in the right way, and we believe in that, and we teach them the correct progressions, and we're conservative, and we take our time to teach them, I think they actually love it.
That sounds really good. Thanks, Carter. Appreciate that. I see we have a question from Rebecca. Rebecca, if I remember, you coming in from Hong Kong. So her question is, Carter, do you guys advertise, or is it just word of mouth?
We do. We have our Instagram. You guys can check it out, CrossFit Coaching. We do have a couple of live content for live classes. So we do a bit of sort of promoting on Instagram, on social media, but majority of it actually comes from word of mouth. That's our strongest marketing tool. Old people, like all people, like to work out with their gang, with their group, and once they develop that gang, they'll keep coming.
I love it. It's sort of like it starts out at the gym, they go eat, and then after that they go eat. And you know, it goes together. First gym, and then eat, and then go home. Love it.
Exactly.
Any final questions for Carter, team, before I tell you what's coming next month and we take a photo? Going once.
Sorry, I do have one more.
Yes, Rebecca, please.
With injuries, we do a master's. We're in Australia here. We do have a master's class we've just started. And sometimes find that if somebody has a slightly sore shoulder, or their hips a bit sore or a bit tight, like differentiating between what's an injury and therefore not coming or changing the movement, as opposed to what's just a bit niggly or a bit sore, and like where to push it and where to hold back.
Yeah, good question, Beck. I think that is something that that is very, very common for us, where old people, especially those that have never exercised or done sports in their life, they can't tell the difference between pain and soreness. So a lot of them will always say that, oh, my arm hurts, or my shoulders hurt, or my leg hurts, or whatever. And you go, and you're like, is it a sharp pain? We try and obviously differentiate if it's a sharp pain or if it's just a general soreness. Then we will always sort of err on the side of caution. And even if it's just soreness, we'll try and modify the movement for them, just so they have that opportunity for that muscle to recover. Obviously, with soreness, if we keep pushing it, it can develop into injury. So anytime they are concerned about a certain body part, we will make sure to modify the movement.
And modification happens by load, volume, range of motion.
Correct. And in some extreme cases, we may need to change the movement sometimes. Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
Mm.
Great question, Rebecca. Thank you. Apologies, from Australia, not Hong Kong. Anyone else? All right, guys, let me tell you what we're going to do next month. Like we had Carter here. Carter was our speaker, as I said previously, at the Malaysia affiliate gathering earlier this year. Next month, we will have Job Wee. And Job was our speaker at the most recent Philippine affiliate gathering. I think you're going to love his talk, especially if you're a head coach or you have a number of coaches and you find that you have this problem that the morning class looks different from the evening class, meaning that the programming is exactly the same, but the scaling variations, etc., differs between your morning classes and your evening classes. So let me just read a short bit for you here. Jobs talk will be how to get your team aligned on programming, scaling, and coaching. He is same thing, just like Carter. He's more than 10 years experienced, and he's been running an affiliate in the Philippines. So what he's working on is a system that they developed at CrossFit Ethos in the Philippines. And I saw it and I wanted to share it with you guys because he brings a bit of a way to organize how you can use that weekly briefing with the workouts that's going to happen for the week to set your coaches up for success. And he talks about different techniques. Do we do it on Zoom? Do we get together? Or do we actually have an email? And he talks about the retention. Certain ways seem very convenient, but the retention is not there. So the athlete or the coach would rather need a resource to look at. Now, anyway, I'm mangling his topic here. He's going to be a lot more eloquent about this next month. But I think for anyone who is a head coach or taking care of coaches, this would be a wonderful opportunity for you to step in and see the method behind this gym and how they bring order to their programming. This is an opportunity to take a photo. If you want to open your camera, quickly do that. We have about 31 people, so I have 2 screens here. I love it. There's another person with my name. Show me your face so I can see who you are. Ritz, good to see you. All right. Going to be a few photos. Stand by. Good. Next one. Big smile. All right, team. Thank you so much for your time. We are respectful of your time. We're just under the hour. Carter, thank you so much for sharing this with us once again. We really appreciate it. And if you find that, you guys uncover more stuff, we'd love to have you back so that you can educate us a bit more. Thank you, team. Good to
Thank
see
you.
everyone. Enjoy the rest of the
Thanks,
week.
Yuria. Thanks,
Pleasure,
everyone.
team.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Carter.
See you.
Bye.
Cheers,
Thank
cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Madhu, you got the t-shirts ready for us? You got the design?
We need international shipping on that, Madhu.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Be good. Bye.
Coming to the CrossFit store soon, guys. Bye.
Soon. Registered trademark.